I believe I've wrestled The Undertaker more times than anyone else. I did it for a long period of time, you know, on a weekly, nightly basis, for weeks on end, for months on end, and that had second and third shifts. So by the time we even did our famous cell match, you know, we were, you know, over 2 years into a feud. And in all that time I wrestled The Undertaker, I beat him twice. But I beat him that first time in Milwaukee when I had no clue it was going to happen. You know, Undertaker was like throwing out some ideas, and like I heard something that sounded an awful lot like I'd be winning, but it didn't register in my brain because it seemed so absurd, and I had to like double check. I was like, could you go back a couple of minutes and tell me what you just said? Like, and I literally had to go like, I'm winning? And he just nodded his head. And I have never asked Undertaker because I choose to believe, you know, in my own reality. But Mr. McMahon apparently only hired me so he could show Jim Ross what it felt like to have his heart broken by some, yeah, literally. This is a human being talking about another human being, hiring a third human being just to break the heart of the second human being. And I have to believe that somewhere along the line, The Undertaker stepped up and said, I want to do business with this guy, because I believe in my heart that the streak was like, at that point, 6 years old, right? 6 years, it wasn't yet in a, you know, like a part of popular culture. But some of those opponents who made up the streak, you know, were well past their prime. And Jimmy Snuka was my idol, but, you know, Jimmy long past his prime. Bundy, Kamala, you throw Giant Gonzalez into the mix. We're not talking about Money of the Year contenders here, or Match of the Year contenders. And I just believe The Undertaker felt like he had something left in the tank, and that to use an opponent who could get inside his mind and challenge him mentally instead of just being taller or heavier was something that could allow him to flourish. You know, before we did our first match, and The Undertaker doesn't like to call anything out there in the ring, like almost nothing. He may give you an idea on what he wants to see, but there's nothing called, you know, and you get out there at first and it's a wee bit uncomfortable until you realize that you've got a certain chemistry and that you're creating instead of remembering. And, you know, we just clicked. Right, you know, from the second or third match, by the time we hit the house shows, we were off and running, and I believe he saw in me someone that, you know, would allow him to showcase a more aggressive side, you know, and a striking side. And, yeah, those matches, I think, in '96 were, you know, not only a lifesaver for me, career-wise, but a shot in the arm for him as far as energizing that character.